Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today let's go over the market, the week, of course, closing off on a pretty rough notes, and we'll go over what happened today. Clearly a pretty bad day for the market in general because we had the jobs report come in, essentially the jobs numbers, and essentially it came in to a point where it pretty much said that it's still the economy is a little too hot still, right? Which is not good. That's not what the Fed apparently wants to hear, which is why a lot of growth names are like selling off. AMD reported poor earnings, so they're even down 14%. Tesla's still down 6.32%, closing at $223. So we hit that infamous 220s level that I've been talking about for a while, that I said is a possibility to get. I personally thought that there was like a decent, like an okay chance to get there, but I also thought there was an okay chance that we don't get here. Clearly we did get here. Sometimes the market can sell off more aggressively than you would think, and it's selling off a bit more aggressively than I thought. I really thought this might be the bottom up here. I didn't think we'd sell off this far this fast. I thought this would be like later. Clearly the market had other plans. So let's talk about what this means, what we can expect going into the next week and the remainder of the month. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say, the fact that we fell this hard today, 6.32% isn't good. Now, this does mean that, personally, I think that this level needs to hold, right? We need to hold around, pretty much around this level that we were at today, this like 220s like area. It needs to hold, in my opinion. I really don't want to see it fall lower than this. I want to see at the very least some form of bounce or like a relief bounce from here. I really do, because this should be like a pretty massive area of support. And if we just fall through this, that's going to be not amazing. And then we'll easily see 216, 210, if not even maybe almost like 205, right? So we really want to hold this level and bounce off of this. We came to that red line that I've been talking about for a very long time. I've been mentioning this red line ever since we were like all the way up here. Again, we just came to it a bit faster than I expected because the market is, it's a pretty wild market right now. Let's just say that, right? But overall, let's take a look at the major indicators, right? So ultimately, like the main ones we usually look at, again, there's really not a whole point. We're well below pretty much every single one. However, the 5 is starting to slowly catch up to us. The 5-day moving average, the 10 is still well above us. The 5 is starting to slowly catch up to us. So if we can start finding a way to close above the 5-day moving average next week, that'll be a good start. And maybe we can finally see our relief or rally for a bit. But the Bollinger Band being the main one, you can see we are essentially just hugging this red line, pretty much selling off underneath the red line pretty consistently too, right? This happened before over here. This was a similar type of sell-off over here, but this was back when Elon was selling. So it kind of makes you wonder, with the whole Twitter thing happening, is this red from Elon selling, right? Is he selling more to for Twitter, to buy Twitter, to finish off the deal or not? That's the big question. Obviously no one knows except for like obviously some people, but 99.999% of us have absolutely zero idea if he is or isn't. We'll find out next week for sure if any forms get filed. But for now, we're kind of guessing. Honestly, we are kind of guessing. This has been some pretty like serious selling pressure. So, there's definitely a possibility, but, of course, we will see next week. So on top of that, the one thing I don't like is the fact that, because we sold off so hard, the RSI is just completely pointing straight down, making lower lows on pretty much the majority of time frames, the daily and the 4 hour, right? If you go to the 3 hour, you can see it actually still made a higher low, technically, assuming this is the bounce, and on the shorter time frames, we are actually still making higher lows, which is a good sign in the shorter time frame, which again, ultimately, all that really means is that the trend is still very much down. This most likely isn't the bottom, but hopefully this is finally a bottom for now, a temporary bottom, and we can get some form of relief rally from here, because Tesla has just been extremely aggressively selling off. Like, this is pretty much how I always say, when there's just a bunch of green in a row like this, you're going to get some pretty harsh red coming up, which we clearly did, as I've been talking about here. I just didn't think it was this harsh. This is pretty severe. But, we did get the harsh red. Same thing in reverse. When you just get constant, like just harsh redness like this, just straight pure selling pressure, like days in a row, just feels like, like almost weeks at this point in a row, it feels like, right? You're going to get some violent green coming up as, shorts cover, as, they start like exiting their positions, all that kind of stuff, right? Which is going to happen. It's just a matter of when, not if. Same thing as I always said up here, right? It's just a matter of when and not if. And and it's just a matter of like, at what level can we start maybe actually seeing that start to, form a bottom, and then, finally get this little bit of a relief rally. Well, this is the level, in my opinion, where I would love to see that happen. I personally would really want to see this happen. Technically, we can go a little bit lower, maybe like even as low as like literally 220 itself. But like, man, I really want to see the 220s hold, and I really want to see some form of relief rally. Now, again, we can take a look at potentially, again, assuming this is the bottom from this swing high to this low, where can we end up rallying to if this is the short-term bottom, right? Well, the main levels, like I said before, the 3.8, the 5, and the 6.18, right? So as high as pretty much 263-ish. Pretty much just red line, honestly, would be, in my opinion, as high as we can go. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll come up to this like almost 270, but that's like, in my opinion, like the most likely best case scenario before further downside. I don't think we'll even go that high, in all honesty. I personally think, let me redraw one more time. I honestly think because of this just sheer weakness, the way it usually works is the weaker it is in the opposite direction. So in this case, because we're just so aggressively selling off, that means that the bounce up should be a sharp, quick one, but it also means that most likely we won't go up to the higher levels. It most likely means that we're probably going to go up to like the 0.5 or something like that. Maybe even if we're unlucky, the 0.382, which would be a bit of a shame, in all honesty. But I personally think that the 0.5 is most likely the level that we might go up to. And again, if we're lucky, we'll come up to this kind of 263 area to maybe gap fill this area up here at 265. That I personally think is just the best case scenario. I don't think we'll go higher than that. I think it's definitely a possibility, but I'd be really surprised if we go much higher than this, like red line and or gap fill, right? So yeah, it's hard to say, guys. This is like a wild market, as I'm sure you guys can tell. You don't need me to tell you that. This is an aggressive market. The VIX ended up rallying back upwards, though I do believe it will catch a bit of a breather here soon for a little bit, because the market is selling off quite aggressively. So, you know, we'll see how this goes. I still think that there's going to be a bit of a relief rally first before ultimately going even lower. And that's kind of what I'm seeing at the moment. So because we sold off this hard, I personally think Tesla going to like 180, man, it doesn't seem like it's completely out of the picture, right? It really does not. And I really would not be surprised if we come out down to that level. Personally, I want to see, I really think we'll come down to this like 207-ish level. It's like extremely low 200s. I think that's going to happen for sure. But if that does happen, that's not, you know, ideal. So we'll see. We'll see when it comes. We'll see when the base starts forming. At the moment, there's no like, you know, massive indicator showing that this is the reversal. That's it. We're bouncing from here. It's just a matter of like theorizing the fact that this should be a massive area of support as well. The red line that I had this for like here for like a long time, which we pretty much bounced off of. You know, that should also be a good level of, you know, an area to bounce. And, you know, until we see like an actual like real sign of a reversal, it's hard to say that this is the area, though in theory it should be around this area, right? So once we get that reversal signal, I will let you guys know once I see something that looks like a bullish candle, or maybe we cross the 5, especially the 10 moving average, things like that. But we'll see, guys. We'll see. You know, I did buy on my smaller account here. Thankfully, I'd sold all the way up here out of loss, unfortunately. I did take a bit of a loss up here, but thankfully, you know, that ended up working out because we sold off substantially more aggressively than I thought. So, you know, thank goodness for that, I guess. But we'll see what this leads into, guys. Taking a quick look at the weekly as well. Just an absolutely hideous candle, right? Just absolutely atrociousness. We have a gap up here at 265 that we just talked about, which in my opinion is the best case scenario for a bounce. We'll see if we get there or not. Seems a little high, in all honesty, for a bounce, but, you know, it's not impossible. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing, guys. You know, overall, Tesla is looking definitely overall bearish. Even if we get short-term bounces, I still think that ultimately the trend is still down until we actually form a true bottom, which I personally don't think it will even be up here. I really think at this rate, it's most likely going to be at least at this 187 level, if not potentially all the way down to this 150 level. As you know, as sucky as that is, you know, personally, the way I'm doing it is, you know, I've entered bullish positions. Like I've said, I entered a bit more as well. If we come all the way down to this level, I have reserve cash that I'll pull out for this level. And then if we come down here, I have like the extra reserve that I'll pull out and buy if we come down to this level. But that's the way I'm personally looking at it. Again, none of this is financial advice. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. Peace.